Hey guys, welcome back to R&D Garage. I am so excited to be back in the garage working on cars. It has been a crazy month and a half of car events, racing, doing all sorts of cool stuff, but now we're back and we're going to work on my S2K. First of all, I want to welcome you, all my new subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing, liking, and commenting on my videos, and all you guys who have been there since the beginning and have enjoying my videos along the way, thank you so much. Okay, like I said, I'm super excited. We're working on one of my favorite cars, the S2K. So what I need done today is to replace the TCT. This is actually the timing chain tensioner, and it's this little guy right here. So this one looks pretty new, doesn't it? Pretty cool. There's a user named Billman on the S2KI forums, and what he does is make improvements on the TCT. So what we're going to do as soon as we pull off the old one is send it back to him, he'll improve it, and sell it to the next person. I call that a pretty good trade. I mean, obviously we paid him, but it's still really, really cool, kind of pay it forward type thing. So you know what, guys? Let's get started. So Rachel, where is the TCT? Okay, it's actually right here. And Billman said, he actually sent very detailed instructions, which is super sick as well. And you absolutely do not need to remove the airbox to do this install. But I figured since I was filming this, you guys would probably want to see my hands working. So that's why we removed it. Okay, the first thing you're going to do is take off the access hole cover. That's that little guy right there, and it's an 8mm hex. What you don't want to touch under any circumstances is the cam. Do not touch the cam. Okay. So, and I'm going to make sure, yes, we're off. It's off. Let's move on. Okay guys, well, it's a good thing I didn't lose my 10mm because we're going to be using it to loosen this 10mm bolt right here. Now, you know this is the first bolt to start with because it's right below the VTEC solenoid. So we're only going to loosen it so that you can basically stick a screwdriver in it, and I'll tell you why in the next segment. And again, we're on off. Oops. Oops. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead. Perfect. So right about there is good. Okay, so this is why we left some space. Once we take off these two bolts right here, one on this side and one on the other side, you're going to go ahead and stick the screwdriver into the space and use it kind of like a pry bar against the VTEC solenoid bolt and then press out and it should pop off. So there's the explanation. Okay guys, let's go ahead and tackle those two bolts. So, and once you break them, oh yeah, it's fairly simple just to finger loosen the rest of the way. There's one. And you may have to feel, oh, I see it back there. It's like in a weird position, and it's kind of hard because oh, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna hand you that. And there we go. Never underestimate the weird contortions you can get yourself into, and oh, that's still kind of warm. So I think this is a good spot to say, make sure your engine is as cool as possible before starting this. And it looks like it's starting to. That is in a weird spot. It's like impossible to see. There you go. There we go. We may not even need the screwdriver, actually. Yeah, perfect. I got it. Okay. There we go. TCT, and it's super hot. Okay, one thing about pulling out the old part, especially if you were going to reuse it, always hold it level. Billman actually recommends this because it will fall apart and you won't have a good time after that. Okay, so you notice these look similar, yet different. Okay, with these, obviously the cylinder is poking out and you can push it in just a little bit. This one is actually already spring-loaded in and held down by a pin by Billman. So this is really, really sick. You do not want to pull this pin under any circumstances until it's actually installed, and I'll obviously show you how to do that. Another thing is he includes these new bolts. You do not want to reuse the bolts from the old one on the new one, or even back on the old one. Just don't. Okay guys, so we're just about ready to install. What I'm going to show you here is right now we can actually take out these two bolts because they're exactly the same size, thank goodness. And these are already bolted in, so we don't need to worry about those. When you're installing this, you want to make sure this lettering is up and the pin is accessible through the hole, the access hole right there. Again, that's a little hint what we're going to do after this. Okay, so before we start this, you always want to make sure your gaskets are going to be a little bit moisturized. And so what I'm going to do is, much like doing oil changes with those gaskets, is just kind of use my finger and get them a little bit moist with some oil. That one and this guy. And it doesn't matter if you like touch the metal, but I mean obviously don't try to moisturize that as much as you are the gaskets. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and install this guy. And once we actually have the bolts in, just loosely finger tighten them. You don't want to put them in all the way until you're actually sure that everything is accessible. Okay, so we've got our lettering up high. Oh, new parts. Perfect, just so it stays up. Obviously still have one hand on it, and here's now that horrible hole that even with small hands is actually, can you shine a flashlight? Because I can't see stuff. Thank you. I guess I could have said please. Really? Oh, right there, huh? There we go. Perfect. Okay, so those are both a little bit finger tight. I'm going to get out of this awkward position and be right back. Okay, so you may think it's all the way in. Not quite. We're going to have to wiggle it a little bit so you hear that satisfying click into place. So even though we finger tighten just a little bit, I'm going to go ahead. There we go. You guys hear that? Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and finger tighten. I think I'm just going to have to come around the front here. There we go. So actually, okay. And I'm not going to torque them into place quite yet because I want to show you guys something else. I think that one, yeah, that one's finally finger tight. Okay, so I'm going to have Dee bring the camera in. Hopefully you guys can see this, but you should see that little cotter pin thing holding everything together right through there. You want me to? Perfect. Okay, so our friend Billman recommends 8.7 foot-pounds. Remember, on a 1/4 inch drive, so this is going to be more of a feel than a click. And yeah, I think that's about it. Only these two bolts. Obviously, the other ones are already torqued down. Okay. So, and I think it's kind of funny. Actually, hold on. There we go. So it's like a baby click. I'm gonna go with baby click. But the sun coming through our one single window in the warehouse, beautiful, is providing enough natural light that we almost don't need to light this scene. Okay, so that's ready to go. Let's move on. Okay guys, most serious moment of R&D Garage. 3 things. Well, the first 2 are more serious than the last. Okay, number 1, do not forget to pull the pin. Your car will not run. Number 2, use vice grips. because if you lose that pin in your engine, you know what you are. Don't do it. Dion just put the fear of God into me. Okay, number 3, you'll hear a thunk when it's loaded and you'll know you did it right. Let's do this. I'm not nervous at all. Okay, so basically what I'm gonna do, since we put a pair of vice grips on there, I'm gonna hold the vice grips, pull right out, we should hear the thunk and be good. If not, I'm in the doghouse for the next year. Okay, let's just do it. Oh, thank God. Okay, we got the pin, you guys heard the thunk. Blackberry's gonna run. Okay, so our buddy B-Man didn't actually give us a torque for this one, so we had to look it up. 22 foot-pounds, crush washer. And first, I'm just gonna go ahead, you're barely gonna be able to finger tighten it. So there we go, it's already getting tight. I've got my handy dandy torque wrench. Oh my gosh, I just like, that bumper, man. Come on, 22, I can do you. I haven't worked out in a while, but there we go. Okay, guys. Well, all we need to do next is put the air box back in and then we're through. Okay, guys, so one last thing. If you've noticed a little bit of oil down there, it's probably a good idea while everything is out in the open to do the O-rings on the VTEC solenoid. Yes. Okay, so now we're obviously going to put the air box back in and drive her home. Super excited. Well, guys, we're just about through with the job. Now, before you send your tensioner back to Billman, make sure it's OEM. If someone's been in your car before and you don't see the NTN on the bottom of it, it's not OEM, and he'll charge you, I think, like $200 or something. So make sure it's OEM before you send it back. But at any rate, this actually was a fun little install, and I hope it helped you a lot. Again, thank you for watching this R&D Garage video. I appreciate all of you, and I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Take care.